Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. Hopefully you had a wonderful long weekend. Quick shout out to my newest patron, Ian. I greatly appreciate the support. So, as you can see, Elon Musk is impressed by what, you ask? Latest in engineering on Twitter shared the Taihang solar farm in China built right into the mountains reduces 251,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide every year. But as you can see, a very impressive project here, and ultimately the ceiling of what type of projects Tesla could be looking at in the future when it comes to solar panel deployment and battery storage. And that's not the only one of its size. The Huanghe hydropower development has a 2.2 gigawatt solar plant, and it's backed by 202 megawatts of battery storage, coming in at a cool $2.2 billion. And yes, right now Tesla does not have the capacity to do any project like this, but 5, 10, 15, 20 years into the future, a wise man once said, think bigger. Elon has been giving a lot of love to Tesla audio engineering on Twitter in the last week or so, and Jeff said, how does Tesla have the best car speaker system using unbranded speakers? Well, it's their proprietary audio codec, and simply put, an audio codec can be thought of as compression and decompression and encoding or decoding files, whether it's for storage or playback. And once again, Tesla has their own proprietary audio codec, which definitely changes your user experience. Viv says it's crazy how you can turn the volume to 11 and it still doesn't rattle, even when listening to techno. Elon said that's one of his tests. And if you would like to rock out like Elon, which he said he has done many times, this is the song. I have included the link in the description below for your viewing pleasure. Holmars had a great tweet yesterday. He said Elon was wrong in 2015 when he said Tesla could be worth $700 billion in 10 years. Turns out he only needed 5. Here we are about 5 to 6 years later from the prediction, and Tesla is over a $700 billion valuation. And Elon saw this and chimed in, I'm not always late. So an important reminder that yes, in the short term, Elon will miss many more smaller deadlines, but if you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, there's a different story being told. Anthony Smith shared an article that was also trending on Reddit today, and it said at a relatively low volume, they would have had to sell the car at $210,000. This, by the way, the story of Dyson and their $700 million quest to make an EV. And he said it makes Tesla's achievements all the more astounding. Once again, Elon told us what we already know and added large incumbent car makers sell their cars at low to zero true margin. Most of the profit is selling replacement parts to their fleet, of which 70 to 80% are past warranty, like razors and blades. New car companies lack this advantage, also lack sales and service infrastructure. And in case you're new, this is another fundamental difference between Tesla and legacy auto. Tesla barely breaks even on service, and legacy auto makes a huge percentage of its money and profits from service, which, when you think about it, is really a terrible incentive structure for the customer when you look at the legacy automotive side. Troy Teslike and the Wall Street consensus estimate for Tesla Q3 delivery figures are 222,000. Very easy to remember. 22 is my lucky number, by the way. And go ahead and pause and take a screenshot if you would like to view the granular data. Arash on Twitter, I'm not sure if you actually personally took this photo, but if you did, a job well done. It's an awesome picture. And he said Norway is one of the best places on earth for a Tesla road trip. And I'm telling you, the more I hear about Norway, the more I would like to take a trip there one day. It seems like a very cool country. Morgan Stanley shared a risk reward update for Tesla, and the only thing I really want to point out here, and it's the title of today's video with the light slowly coming on for some of these analysts, here we have it. Of course, they have the price target of $900, but it's how they got there. So as you can see, they're breaking it down into 6 different components. They have $375 a share for the core Tesla auto business. They have Tesla Mobility valued at $75. Tesla as a third-party powertrain supplier. They have energy, insurance, and network services. And sure, this is not the first time one of these analysts has done it like this, but it's definitely not the norm across the industry as it should be. But as we thought would happen after Tesla AI Day and with FSD being more in the public headlines, people are starting to understand that Tesla is definitely more than an automaker, and it takes these Wall Street firms much longer than the retail consumer to adjust their models and to potentially get approval and to run it by everybody else at the firm. And don't hear me wrong here, I'm not at all saying now I'm going to start putting more emphasis on Wall Street price targets, because I am most certainly not, and I'm not at all even saying that these projections are anywhere in the neighborhood of being where I personally would end up. But the simple fact of breaking down Tesla's business model into different segments is a huge step forward for Wall Street. And for inquiring minds, Morgan Stanley's bull case is $12.72 per share, the base $900, and the bear case $450 per share. Here is our daily dose of comedy. So some Tesla footage reveals a man lied about getting hit by a car in a parking lot. This 47-year-old man, Arthur Bates Jr., being put on blast by the news and social media today, and for good reason. So before I even explain it, just watch the video for yourself. And keep your eye on the bottom right. That's the driver of the vehicle smacking Arthur's leg off of his rear bumper. The driver then pulls away. Arthur stays on the ground. Bates complained about injuries he sustained to his back, leg, and neck, prompting the responding officers to call for an ambulance and a fire truck, according to the department. And later, Bates admitted to fabricating the entire incident and was arrested for filing a false police report. So, another situation where it would have been good for Mr. Arthur Bates to know that Teslas do indeed have cameras. Tesla completed its new supercharger factory in Shanghai on August 20th, and the plant took about 7 months to build and can produce 10,000 supercharger V3 units per year. To give you some context, Tesla is working with about 25,000 global superchargers, so now they can build almost half of that in 1 year. So the ramp of the supercharger network is definitely on the horizon, and it seems like good timing with Tesla set to open up the supercharger network, at least in select areas here in the next few months. And it's important to note that the footprint for this factory where they're making these superchargers is actually pretty small. It's about a third of the size of the Cato Road facility where Tesla's pilot plant is for the 4680 cells. So I'm thinking that with Giga Berlin and Giga Texas, they should have more factories for superchargers given the relatively small footprint and the ability to have that high of volume in a compact area. I can't imagine Tesla doesn't do this at their newest gigafactories. And sure, word on the street is that Tesla is building superchargers at Giga Buffalo, but I still think it makes sense to have one of these factories at least on each continent where Tesla is going to be operating. More talks between Tesla and India. They're looking at setting up fully owned retail outlets. Tesla would need to comply with the FDI guidelines related to single brand retail, including local sourcing norms. At least 2 other foreign majors, Apple and IKEA, were engaged in talks with the government long before the sourcing norms were eased under the single brand retail route. So clearly discussions between Tesla and India are still ongoing and ramped up at this point. Apparently an older version of Tesla's full self-driving software has leaked and is spreading around the hacker community. Basically, some of these cars have root access over in the Ukraine, and people there are using an older version of FSD. Root access just gives you access to certain features that most users do not have. There is indeed video footage of this FSD being tested in Kyiv, Ukraine, and this is one of the downsides of not having geo-fenced autonomy, because now any Tesla vehicle anywhere on the planet, if they have access to the software, can run FSD where it probably hasn't actually been tested or trained. So it is definitely a dangerous situation. Hopefully the hackers in that community are being extra cautious with this, and hopefully this doesn't turn into a huge story unnecessarily. Construction has begun on the UK's largest battery storage project, and you guessed it, they're going to be using Tesla Megapacks, building a 99 megawatt facility in Essex. This would indeed be the largest battery energy storage project in the UK. This, the Clay Tie facility, and it follows the completion of the 34 megawatt project in Contigo, which used 28 Tesla Megapack batteries. That was the second project in the UK to use the Tesla Megapack, and the first was the Holes Bay project. Good stuff, let's keep them coming. Potentially some more comedy. Toyota says they're going to spend $13.5 billion to develop EV battery tech by 2030. Some of these lines in the article truly are laughable. Considered a leader in developing batteries for EVs, Toyota said it aimed to slash the cost of batteries by 30% or more by working on materials used and the way cells are structured. Gee, thank you for the detailed plan, we really appreciate it. Then for the vehicle, we aim to improve power consumption, which is an indicator of the amount of electricity used per kilometer, by 30%. Once again, these are just empty promises, random figures with no detail, no concrete plans given. And of course, with Toyota, the story always goes to they're working on figuring out solid state batteries, and Reuters goes as far as to say they could replace liquid lithium ion batteries. No, they will not, at least not this decade. No matter what happens with solid state battery tech, they will not replace lithium batteries this decade. They're too good, they're too affordable, there's too much infrastructure. Solid state's going to take plenty of time to develop a new infrastructure and to be reliable and all of that, so Reuters is well off the mark with this one. And to top it all off, Toyota said they're going to use those solid state batteries in hybrid electric vehicles. Unbelievable. But that's gonna wrap it up for today. Please take a second to like the video if you did. Thank you to all of my Patreon supporters, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.